Yeah, I had a somewhat tumultuous childhood. Started off pretty good, and started having some trouble at home with my parents and that kind of thing. And that's what kind of threw me into a spiral. Um, I began to downgrade in my studies at the age of 13. I began to get involved with and one particular time got involved with a gang brought to school and opened on an opposing gang, and immediately became a felon as a result of that, and was taken from the home and placed in a juvenile facility.
Wow.
Uh, yeah.
That that leads to a life of, joining whatever, and then you became a gangster rap artist. Tell us about that, how you got involved doing that.
Yeah, so I was always fond of writing and poetry, and I began to get involved with some of the guys who were in that juvenile facility, and began to kind of brush shoulders with some of the guys who were rappers in there, and we began to write lyrics. And that's how I got started in writing gangster rap music. That was just something that was trending at that time in the early 90s, for my particular generation, coming from a very disenfranchised neighborhood where there was a lot of gang activity, a lot of and not a lot of positivity in those environments, and began to get involved in writing lyrics, and I began to get fascinated with it. And there were people who, to make the long story short, there were people who were getting involved in the industry and were receiving a lot of financial gain and all of this kind of thing. So when I got out of the facility, I began to indulge more into gangster rap music, and there was a particular group out at this particular time that kind of brought the occult into rap music and kind of exposed me to the occult. They had a song called Mr. Ouija, and I remember smoking and listening to their music. It was very, very persuasive. They were platinum selling artists, and their music just had this particular edge to it. And through their music, I began to do some research on the group, and they confessed that they had made a deal through a Ouija board, made a deal to offer their soul in exchange for fame and fortune to demonic forces.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.
Let's get high, yeah, you know I'm about to roll. Let's get please, yeah, you know I gotta pull. Let's live life, live once I'm about to turn up. Get fly, oh for sure it's about to go up. Let's get high, yeah, you know I'm about to roll. Let's get please, yeah, you know I gotta pull. Let's live life, live once I'm about to turn up. Get fly, oh for sure it's about to go up. Roll my blunt and pass my lighter. Get lit, pop shit, get higher. I'm the hottest, call me fire. Rock out, jump up, live my life up.
Family, we are back. Hey, y'all heard what we're gonna review and react to. And this is what I always says. This is what I always say, rather. When a person's in a moment where they're in dire need, they'll do certain things. And it's funny because I was watching an interview with Choppa today from Making the Band. He was telling the story of how he asked Take That for his money, left the studio, was walking down the street, and got put to sleep. But he got bribed for money to be quiet about the situation and not pursue legal action. So you're owed money. The person that owes you did something to you, put you to sleep, and then gave you hush money. You're still owed money. Anyways, this dude, y'all, he's gonna tell a story about how he was highly influenced by Bone Thugs and Harmony, and he's gonna let you know how the spirits and the devil came and really influenced him. Let's get to the content.
So that was very intriguing to me. And I was inspired by that. I was in a poverty-stricken area, poverty-stricken neighborhood, so obviously wanted to escape everything that being in that environment entailed. And I began to look for a Ouija board. At that particular time, ironically, they were advertising Ouija boards on television like toys. And I got my hands on one and began to try to communicate with the other side and offer my soul in exchange to become a famous gangster rap artist. And when I began to do that, things began to take a drastic turn for the worse, I should say. Nothing happened the first time I dabbled with the Ouija board, but I would go into darkness. I would go in my room and turn the lights out, and I would just speak openly and tell the devil, hey, you can have my soul. I just want to be the best rap artist, famous rap artist. So in my pursuit of that, I was continuing to write lyrics. By that time, I was part of an actual group. I was the lead rapper of an actual group. And I had an experience that Thanksgiving Eve of this particular year where I was pulled over. I was getting high with a young lady from work and got pulled over. But as I was sitting at the back of the vehicle, Satan, this demonic spirit, identified itself as Satan. It came directly into my conscious. It was something different than thoughts. It was verbal communication. And he began to tell me that I've heard your prayers. Ironically, a lot of times these demonic spirits, they mimic the same thing that God does. He listens to our prayers. So this spirit basically replied to me and said, yeah, I've heard your request. I'm going to honor that request. Here is the style that I'm going to give you. And these lyrics began to just play in my conscious. They were so mesmerizing.
Influence, 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 y'all. We can't get away from that word. Influence. This dude was so influenced by what he thought was success from this rap group that played with a Ouija board to the point where he went out and got one. Now, I want to address what he said about them selling them things like toys. Y'all, you would have thought by the way that they were selling these things that were made by Milton Bradley, you would have really thought the maker of Monopoly made the Ouija board. It was like that. And it was almost like a fad for real. Especially like I had left the hood and grew up in the burbs after a while. And it was almost like a fad. Like, you ain't got a Ouija board? What? Man, I ain't even heard the word Ouija. I never got into it because I didn't want to play with something where the thing moved by itself. And that's how it was advertised. It was like kids all on the floor playing, high-fiving and, smacking hands and asking questions, and the little triangle thing just move around over letters. No, we're not going to do that. Anyway, let's get to this next clip. Now, I always hear that allegedly when people sign these deals with the devil that they get these magical powers and abilities that they cannot explain. I've heard one dude say he needed to write an album, and next thing you know, he woke up and had songs. Then there was the one dude that went to the crossroads with his guitar, came back playing like a madman, and nobody knew where he got these increased set of skill levels at. But listen to this dude and how he tells how the devil or whatever really influenced, motivated, and made him highly productive. Check it out.
I wasn't thinking these lyrics. They were just literally just playing in my conscious. And Satan told me that this is the style that I'm going to give you. It's going to be very receptive to this generation, but there are some stipulations. And one of the stipulations that he continued to emphasize was there was no turning back. Once you make this commitment, there's no turning back. There's no crying out to God. You're in this for life. And he made that very clear. So while I was standing in the back of the vehicle with the police searching the car, I was going through this and no one knew what I was going through. I was excited. I was mesmerized because this showed me that I actually reached the other side. I reached the supernatural. So I was very excited. I was very intrigued, and this is proof that there is some reality into going through the dark world to succeed. So to make a long story short, I ended up going home, and I tried to wake up and sing those lyrics, but I just couldn't do it. You know, it wasn't there because I hadn't reached that particular level yet. I went and got some marijuana and hoped that that would do it, and nothing happened. And then like a couple weeks later, I was getting high with some friends of mine, and then the lyrics, Satan came back into my conscience, and he reassured me. He said, this is the style that I'm going to give you. You're going to be rich. You're going to be famous. Your name is going to be worldwide. But remember, there is no turning back. He said, I'm going to begin to tell you what to write. So when I was under the influence of marijuana, I could do what's called freestyle rapping without missing a beat. You have a lot of artists that do that even now. There's a particular artist that goes around bragging that he doesn't write his music. And I believe him, because through the power of the demonic, you can just flow freely without missing a beat. And that's the point where I was. And there were times I would write music, and there were words that I'd never even heard in my life that were in my music. And I would go to the dictionary just to see if these were real words, and they were real words.
We're gonna end it right there. We're definitely gonna end it right there. Yeah, bro was an aspiring rapper. Soul to soul. Now he's here telling the story. He doesn't look like a gangster rapper no more, huh? When you want the fame and fortune, there's certain things that they say you gotta do. And like I always say, when people, and this is a common theme you'll see with these people, y'all. They're very anxious to get out of a BS situation, not knowing that they're just gonna walk into a worse situation. Period. They're just gonna walk into a worse situation. Let me know your thoughts, you guys. How much would it take for you to sign a deal? Or would you even sign a deal? $ Trap House Kitchen 1, y'all. I need all the help I can get right now. They're messing with me. If you notice I haven't been uploading like I usually do, it's for a reason. Trust me. Yeah. But I'm gonna stick with this truth stuff, or allegedly the truth, and we're gonna grind it out. $ Trap House Kitchen 1. Like the video, hype up the video, all that good stuff. I'm out. Peace.